Thank you for taking some time for yourself. And if you can close your eyes and give yourself permission to leave the world's baloney out there. To really be here. Breathing in and breathing out. And I wonder if you can focus on your chest, rising and falling deeper into relaxation. And you can be aware of the different sensations. Shoulders relax, neck, arms, muscles in the face relax. Perfect. And I'm curious if you've noticed the impulse to breathe, the body's automatic response to love you with oxygen. Little by little, moment by moment, and just like the drive to breathe, there are so many drives deep within us. Deep breath in. And a relaxing breath out. And there are drives for new or stimulating experiences. When we are feeling bored, or new experiences that soothe us. When we're feeling stressed, the automatic impulse and the drive to get absorbed in new ideas. And I'm curious if you can become aware of the space between the breath, space within your body, space within your energy. And there are so many aspects to the space. And I wonder if your shoulders are more relaxed than your neck, the left side of your body, or what's right about you right now. And all the trillions of atoms that make you, vibrating somehow in this pleasant state known as existence. the impulse of your chest, rising and falling. And so much of our awareness is impulsive, something that makes us react instantly and thoughtlessly, or in a logical way. And often people react not consciously or deliberately. It just happens. And isn't it a wonderful feeling when you can amplify the space, delay the moments of impulse longer and longer. Slow breath in and soft breath out. In fact, you've managed to slow down your pulse, blood pressure, without me asking that of you. That's how special you are. And what a wonderful feeling it is when you can skillfully think beyond the impulse. Jump ahead. Respect yourself. Prevent regret because you're careful. What a magical feeling when you handle a situation well, because of what you've prevented. No one else has your wisdom, life experience. In fact, until the end of time. There'll never be anyone exactly the same as you. That's how special you are. But before you begin this relaxing experience, I want you to create a safe space where you can send any unwanted emotions to. And I really don't know what a safe room looks like to you. I don't know if it will have control panels with dials that can turn your emotions up or down. But what I do know is clients love to think about their body as a castle and put people, friends, places and pets feelings of love for them in their heart. And then put the in-laws in tiny little rooms, in their fingers and toes. And sometimes the safe room of the castle is in their belly. But I really don't know what you'll choose. And if you could send all of your emotions to the safe room now, creating some distance, little by little, moment by moment. And in the past, you've been feeling depressed about social media. Maybe you're aware that pre-COVID in 2017, the World Health Organization reported depression was the leading cause of ill health and disability worldwide, affecting 18% of the world's population. And now, post-COVID, people predict it's increased by a factor of 2 or possibly 3. Depression is complicated. It's different for everyone. And the solutions are different for everyone. But the good news is, it's got nothing to do with you. There's a process to it. And sometimes it's so nice just to feel good. And in a moment, I want you to take yourself to a time when you were really happy. And if you don't have a time, just make one up. A time when you were so young, you were excited about your birthday, or couldn't wait to see what Santa had brought you, or the tooth fairy just left you $1 for your tooth. And I really don't know what your body will discover. Different sensations, changes in the muscles in your face, because there's a certain quality of seeing the world through a child's eyes, of happiness, feelings in your heart, lightness in your chest, maybe a restless feeling of excitement, an overwhelmingly wonderful experience. And if you were to imagine you as a 5-year-old child now, but not thinking with an adult's brain, thinking with the brain of a 5-year-old child. A time when the colour pink and blue were really important. Or maybe you would cry if you were given vanilla ice cream instead of chocolate. You were so small that you could use the bathroom all by yourself. But someone would have to take you to the public toilets because you weren't quite old enough to use public toilets by yourself yet. And I wonder if you were given a giant iPad. I wonder how excited you would be, wanting to wave at all the people on the internet. Or you wanted to tell everyone your first few words. Count to the number 10. Tell all the strangers you're 5 years old. But not really know what day your birthday is. Waving at the camera, wanting to be friends with all those people on the internet. Now, in a moment, I'm going to talk to you as an adult, but you're going to hear it through the lens of a 5-year-old child, because your subconscious mind will be listening and do something wonderful for you. A little later on, and recently I attended a course with the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, Society for Clinical and Experimental Hypnosis, with Michael Yapko. And he was describing his client, a GI doc, a gastrointestinal doctor. And the doctor kept attending hypnosis training sessions because the doctor believed hypnosis could deliver great results. But she felt there was so much pressure to practice hypnosis that the doctor wasn't able to bring themselves to practice. And that says a lot about a person. About that doctor. How does the doctor generate that process? Is the doctor focused on her feelings of inadequacy, or the patient's? Because if the doctor just gave it a go anyway, there's nothing to lose if it doesn't work. But if it works, there's so much to gain. And recently, the American Psychological Association wrote a letter to the US Surgeon General on the 22nd of March 2022 to the Vice Admiral Vivek H. Murthy, MD, MBA, Surgeon General, Office of the Surgeon General, Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C. But this letter was so important that it was signed by all of these different people: Chief Science Officer, American Psychological Association, President of Children and Screens, Institute of Digital Media and Child Development, President, Association for Behavioral and Cognitive Therapies, Executive Director, Anxiety and Depression Association of America, Executive Director, Society for Research in Child Development, President, Society for Research on Adolescence, President, Board of Directors, Eating Disorders Coalition for Research Policy and Action, Co-founder and President, REDC Consortium, President, the American Professional Society on the Abuse of Children, President, Academy for Eating Disorders, Chair, Executive Board Coalition for the Advancement and Application of Psychological Science, Chief Executive Officer, Steinberg Institute, Chief Medical Officer, National Alliance on Mental Illness, President and CEO, National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Education Director, the Kennedy Forum, Chief Government Affairs and Public Policy Officer, American Counseling Association, Associate Vice President, National Policy, Sandy Hook, Director, Policy and Advocacy, National Association of School Psychologists, Chief External Affairs Officer, the JED Foundation, Director of Public Policy, National Association for Children's Behavioural Health, Vice President for Early Childhood and Public Health Policy, First Focus on Children, Senior Vice President of Behavioural Health Innovation, Mental Health America, Chief of Policy, Programs and Partnerships, American Psychiatric Association, Chief Public Affairs Officer, Children's Hospital Association, Chief Medical Officer, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And in this letter, all these people were asking for assistance from the American Psychological Association. We ask for your consideration to create and distribute a public education campaign targeted at youth, their parents and guardians, to raise public awareness on the potentially adverse impact of social media usage on children and adolescents, and thanking the Surgeon General for drawing their attention to the current mental health crisis being experienced by today's youth, because it's long been established that adolescence is associated with neurological changes that promote cravings for social attention, feedback and status, but the users of social media platforms have remained uninformed. And while brain regions associated with a desire for social interaction increase as children grow, full maturation doesn't occur until age 25. And psychological science clearly demonstrates exposure to this online content is associated with lower self-image, distorted body perceptions amongst young people, and this exposure is associated with strong risk factors for eating disorders, unhealthy weight management behaviours, and depression. And young people are also exposed to information online that promotes self-harm, increased peer victimization and harassment, and the brain scans of adults and youths reveal that these forms of harassment activate the same regions of the brain that respond to physical pain and trigger a cascade of reactions that replicate physical assault and create physical and mental health damage. And the impact of social media algorithms on the user's experience is woefully understudied, due in large part to the lack of visibility by researchers into the data and how the algorithms work. And they go on in the letter to ask for assistance with evidence-informed suggestions for its appropriate use, because the very real harms of social media are impacting our children today. And I don't know if you've ever seen the documentary on Netflix, Power of Grayskull. And when He-Man would say, "I have the power," what it said to the children was, they don't have to do what they're told anymore. They can be their own person. And the He-Man franchise, Masters of the Universe, was created by Mattel, and it made about $2 billion before the bubble burst by competition from the Ninja Turtles, Transformers and video games. And if you grew up in the 80s, you know it had some unique fashion. And even if you didn't, you've probably heard about it. And everyone would wake up on a Saturday morning and rush to the TV to watch our favourite show. The world of cartoons was a magical place, and it was also a thriving industry for toy companies. But the Masters of the Universe He-Man was aired on weekdays, in the afternoons or just before school. But unlike Star Wars, where the movie was written with a script, filmed, aired in movie theatres, and finally toy figurines were sold, the He-Man franchise, Masters of the Universe, was built backwards because after the success of Star Wars toys, there was a request to have a series of action figures that could be sold, just like Star Wars. But none of them were successful. And it was in 1981 that the toy line was launched alongside 4 comics. And by 1983, He-Man had an animated series, a cartoon, on TV. And the merchandise became so popular that you could even buy He-Man cups at Burger King. But this was the 1980s, and He-Man was breaking all the rules for children's television. This was the first time ever that a muscular figurine, a cartoon character full of muscles, was allowed to demonstrate combat on television. So unlike most of us today that can easily see boxing or UFC on TV, combat in cartoons was considered a direct act of violence, not fit for children to see. So most of the combat moves were that of wrestling. And not only that, no cartoon had ever advertised directly to children. And so a moral of the story was written into each and every episode. And maybe you've heard of something called submodalities: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And a visual person might say, "I love the colour of that orange Lamborghini." And an auditory person might say, "The sound of that engine is music to my ears." And a kinesthetic person might say, "The seats are so comfortable." But the truth is, we're all 3 modalities. We just kind of have favourites. And when people are visualizing, they tend to look up, eyes above the horizon. And when people are listening, their eyes dart from side to side. And when people are accessing feelings, they tend to look down. And this is why you might notice often depressed people look down, trying to get in touch with their feeling. And often clients can change their internal state by looking up, shoulders back, smell the fresh air. But the thing is, advertising companies know this. And it reminds me of Gordon Young, a psychologist and leading hypnotist here in Australia, describing one of his clients that had a buying problem. This woman of executive level just couldn't stop buying clothes. She had rooms and rooms and rooms in her home, full of luxury clothes. It was almost a clothes hoarder, and her buying strategy was, it looks good, it feels good, and she would buy it. And as silly as it sounds, she was missing one component. thinking, that looks good, it feels good, but do I need it? But what clients' eyeballs are doing on social media, typically their phone is resting in their lap. They're looking down, accessing a feeling state. Then the eyes scroll up to a visual, anchoring a feeling to a visual that, unlike He-Man, has no moral to the story. And just like someone might see the world through rose-coloured glasses, you can now recognize there was a quality to social media. The experience of digital media in the past you've equated with being connected. And for the first time you see the circumstance of the situation had nothing to do with your value or worth. And just like planting seeds, deep down you know that one day they might yield something. But more than that, there's a quality of hope that one day things might be different. But being hopeful doesn't allow someone to plant seeds, and neither does being hopeless. What counts is just like you right now, being here in the present moment. And the greatest present you can give yourself is the present. And every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you can be certain that every weather pattern has a season. Wet, dry, winter, spring, summer, autumn. And isn't it wonderful to forget to remember? There is a certain quality to planting seeds, just like you did a moment ago, because change is certain. In fact, you can rely upon it. And just like that wonderful feeling of happiness as a child, I want you to now really look at your technology through the eyes of a small child. And if you were 5 years old, watching yourself now, using it now, the age you're at now, I wonder what the 5-year-old thinks of your posture, how they think you might be feeling. What they think you might be saying to yourself. And as a child full of happiness, how much of that behaviour is serving you? I wonder if you want to say, come play outside. Let's go to the shops, the beach, play with a ball in the park, because sometimes clients believe that items are filling up their lives, when in fact they're draining from them. And it's so much more complicated than that, because mobile phones, iPads, computers, TVs are fabulous shiny objects that should be cleaned, polished and kept in great condition. And GPS is great for discovering places to go. And so are maps, writing down direction, discovering different ways. Of connecting with yourself. How long you can keep your eyes above the horizon when going about your day. Make time for the little loves that can fill your heart with joy. Watching the sunrise, having a hot bath, painting, eating chocolate. And I don't really know if you'll choose to get in touch with your body. Nourish yourself with all the good feelings. Muscles relax. Eyes relaxed. Deeper into yourself with each breath. Discovering each connection. And I wonder what you could think of right now that could fill you up. Caring for yourself. Your ability to discover new ways of meeting your body's natural neurological changes that crave social attention, feedback and status, self-care. Caring for yourself. And sometimes it's easy to forget how focused you are. Your ability to focus with intense concentration without me asking that of you. Your ability to create a safe future with intense focus. There are so many aspects to you. You as a child, cousin, niece, nephew, sister, brother, student, colleague, acquaintance, the past you, the 5-year-old you, the future you, the self-respecting you. And isn't it just wonderful when you handle a situation well? When you're ready to orient yourself back to your external world, You can take a few deep breaths, stretch out, and open your eyes. Welcome back. You're perfect, just as you are.